Good afternoon. My name is Chelsea. I am the president of Longwood University's Alpha Lambda Delta chapter. Longwood is in Farmville, Virginia. It's a very small town. There we go. So last year, our chapter focused a lot on stress reduction. So in this presentation, I will be sharing 3 practices that my chapter used over the past year to help reduce student stress in college. So I attended the conference last year, and one thing that was mentioned quite often was the importance of time management. So some tips that I learned and implemented at Longwood University include color coding and planning, as well as an online calendar use. So last semester, we held an event where we invited all of the members of our chapter to an event that focused on managing one's time effectively. And during this event, we all took out our planners, our class schedules, and organized them for that week using different colors, because color coding allows for the students to differentiate between the tasks required for specific classes. And it alleviates some of the stress of not knowing what and when things are going to be due. Another prominent activity that my chapter implemented last year was study groups. This was a major topic of discussion at last year's conference. At the conference, we discussed the significance and benefits of studying in a group rather than studying alone. Some of those benefits include eliminating procrastination, allowing for different perspectives, and it is also practice for the real world. In terms of procrastination, this is eliminated because when studying in a group, individuals are not given the opportunity to not study. The sole purpose of attending was to study. In terms of allowing for different perspectives, when people study alone, they are only viewing the material from their own perspective. However, when members of our chapter studied as a group, we noticed that people were able to ask questions and listen to other people's thoughts and viewpoints. And study groups also allow students to prepare for life after college, in that working with other people allows the students to practice their communication skills, which will be beneficial for their future career and in their life in general. We also did Sundays on Sundays. This was simply just to get our group together and get to know each other better. It was like a designated chill time. Got to eat loads of ice cream as well. The benefits of this was getting to know each other. A lot of us didn't really know each other that well. Alpha Lambda Delta over our chapter over the years has been progressing. It started out pretty small, and as the years go through, I'm a senior now, I've noticed that people are getting more involved over time, which is great. Also, making connections with people that you normally wouldn't make connections with. A lot of the individuals come from different backgrounds, as well as different majors, so you don't normally interact with those people on a daily basis. And it also allows people to get involved. Having something that's fun, but also has a meaning behind it, is always one way to get people to come out. And that is all. Any questions?
Talk about the ice cream. How do you pay for it? Does it cost a lot? Did you have to go through food service, or can you bring in your own ice cream and toppings? Or how did the ice cream thing work? A little bit.
Oh, what we did last year was we just used some of the money from the chapter, and it wasn't a whole lot of people, so we didn't have to go through our Airmark. And people could bring their own sprinkles or toppings if they had them. But yeah, it was a pretty good turnout.
And I'm just going to keep asking until I see questions in the chat. The study groups, there's no question that study groups are so effective, and that could be a great niche signature Alpha Lambda Delta program on a campus, is that the chapter sort of hosts study groups. I might have missed this if you mentioned it. Sorry. Did you adapt and pivot to online study groups, or did Do you do them in person, or any thoughts on doing it online?
So last semester, before COVID, we did it in person. And we actually had this semester we've had one study group so far. Of course, the turnout wasn't, as large as it was last semester, but we still had a few people show up, so that was good. And we're planning on having another one in November before mid exams.
Okay, online, you mean like using Zoom or whatever?
Yes, on Zoom. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I just see a question. The same question was just asked in chat. Yeah, good. Okay. And I think the same could be true for time management. You could do that online too. Was anyone else want to ask a question? Or offer any tip on what you do on your campus? I mean, especially, so backing up to your first point, stress, mental health, anxiety, such core important issues, especially for high achieving, academically inclined students, is super important. So the more programming your chapter could do around that, the better. Relieving stress through time management is of course great. And fun stuff too, relieve stress, like ice cream. So if anyone else is doing programming specific to the mental health and de-stressing of members or students in general, if you want to chime in and share anything.
They also had a special stress thing where they pulled in somebody from counseling, and they had a big session with counselors in terms of how to handle stress during finals week. And I think that turned out to be quite successful.
Great. Yeah. And your counseling center's there. I don't know if there's one college in the United States and beyond that doesn't have a counseling center. So use them. They love working with students, and use their expertise because they are experts in all these sorts of things. So we do have a couple other questions. Do you collaborate with other groups? Anything around collaborating with other groups around these topics?
We have not. We've looked into collaborating with our Honors Student Association as well. We have many members of Alpha Lambda Delta that are also members of our honors college here. So that is something that we have been working on, but it has been a little more difficult this semester, but it is in the making.
Right. Yeah, and in fact, check your campuses. I don't know if Longwood has one, but check your campuses for a group called Active Minds. MINDS. I'm not sure if you want to type that in chat, or a link to their website. But it's a student organization, a national student organization with sort of chapters all across the country. And they are specific to the mental health of students and mental wellness. Active Minds. Your school might have a chapter on your campus, and that's a great collaborative group to work with. And Trish just put the link in there. Can you say more about how the chapter has progressed over the years? How have you gotten more members engaged, especially with the Sundays on Sunday event? Say a little bit more about how that's improved for the chapter.
So when I was a freshman, unfortunately, our chapter didn't really reach out to us as much. So I kind of took it upon myself to become a member of the executive board here. And when I went to the national conference, I kind of came back like a whole different person, I'd say. And me and the president, that was the president last year, we really tried to do what we could to get our members more involved and kind of get the Alpha Lambda Delta name out there. So that's why we started doing the Sundays for Sundays, kind of getting people to understand that it's not like strictly like academics, like we're a social organization too. So kind of having like a mixture of like socializing and focusing on our academics at the same time kind of thing.
Great. And what I'm hearing most is that you got a lot of ideas from the conference, so that's awesome. And I hope
did.
that everyone else does too, because that's what this is all about, is sharing. And remember that you're supposed to steal and borrow. So take everyone's ideas and make them your own. Thanks UT Austin for sharing. They do a de-stress workshop that the university holds. And Franklin College is a small college that plans to spread throughout the library on Wednesday nights for study hall. That's great. Like pick a day and time, and like the Western Michigan's Tuesday wear your swag, pick something consistent like that. And on Sundays is a